Hello, high levelers, Rio Daniel here, and in this video what I want to do is try to show you how to exactly import contacts from another CRM system, or maybe you're purchasing leads through a list service, which I'll go over. But how do you do that? How do you map everything? How do you pull everything into your CRM system to make sure that all your data is there? That's what we're going to cover in this video. Before we get started, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button because you know I appreciate your support. That's what I'm here for, to try to help you out with the GoHighlevel platform. So let's get started. So typically, this process is used anytime either you're an agency and you're looking to migrate a client from an existing CRM system, it could be any other CRM system, over into HighLevel. It's going to be the same process. Or let's just say you might be wanting to do something like cold email outreach, and you're going to these other service providers and you're going to download a list from these people, and then you want to import that data into your HighLevel system. How do you do that? Now, I want to pick one particular method and show it to you. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you would download a list. I have a list that we're going to import, and how would you end up doing that inside of HighLevel, and I'm going to show you where I got it. But before we actually get into that, what I want to show you is just a couple of options, because people sometimes always ask me on my YouTube channel and my other videos, like, where do you get your leads from? Where do you get your list from? And I don't promote any of these. I don't have any relationship with any of these companies, but I just want to at least show you some of the ones that are out there so that you might be able to pick them and utilize them as best you can. So one of them, and this is in no particular order, by the way, right now, if you take a look, D7 Lead Finder is one thing that HighLevel is, I know, promoted at some point in some of the videos, that you can go here, D7 Lead Finder, you sign up. They do have, if you view the plans here, I'm going to show you what I did on this one here for D7 Lead Finder. Notice for this one, you're allowed 100 daily searches and you're allowed 30,000 daily leads. Now, I'm just going to tell you what I did. Judge me, don't judge me. It's up to you. But I went ahead and got the professional plan for the $120, and I got it for 1 month. And what I did is you're allowed 100 daily searches every single day, and you're allowed 30,000 daily leads. So do that. Spend your time every day, or have your assistant, VA, whatever you want to do it, go through, pick out your list, find your niche, find your cities, things like that, and sit back and be able to do all of these searches every day, extract all those 30,000 daily leads every single day into a file. And I'm going to show you D7 Lead Finder is the list that I'm going to be using right now. That's the one I use to pull the list from that I'm going to show you in this example. But I did it for 120. I paid it. I pulled all the leads I needed to, pulled not 30,000 daily. I didn't get anywhere close to that, but I pulled probably somewhere around 10,000 to 15,000 leads every day from different cities until you hit your 100 daily search limit every day. And then you just wait till the next day and then you do it again. So that is one thing. Apollo.io. I know I've heard things about Apollo. It's a way to search and pull leads. Now, keep in mind, some of these things are different. For this D7 Lead Finder, I'm going to be honest, is not the best. It pulls by category, if that makes sense. So sometimes if you search, in this example, I'm going to show you, I search by HVAC contractor. So if you search by HVAC, sometimes you will pull other industries in as well. And I'll show you where that is in the category, but you may pull like an appliance repair person, a plumber, in on this particular list because their listing somewhere has HVAC or something like that in their business category. So you might have to, what they call, scrub your list, go through, check it, and make sure that it's what you're looking for before you actually import it into HighLevel. So right now, D7 Lead Finder, again, scrub your list for sure. Apollo.io allows you to search a little bit more granular. I think you could search for people, like if you want to search for CEOs or you want to search for C-level executives. I don't believe you could do that on the D7 Lead Finder. You just putting an industry in there or business type to pull. So Apollo.io can help you out with that. But if you're looking to do stuff like, pretty cheap, and you're looking to just use Google Maps, I just want to let you know that if you go to Google Maps and you go to the business listings for certain niches, you can pull all of that data from the website using something like this Google Maps scraper. So this is a Chrome add-in that you put into Chrome, and then you go through and it sort of pulls all the data from it and then exports all that data out into a CSV file. So you can check those out, but I wanted to at least give you something to look at here. Now, hey, real quick, guys, if you're looking to start your own software company, then click on my free course in the link below. I'm going to teach you 8 ways that you can start your own software company very easily with no money out of pocket, no experience, and absolutely no tech skills. Check it out, click the link below, and let's get back to the video. Having said that, what I want to do is show you what this list looks like. Now, this list that I've got is just a bunch of HVAC contractors. I think this is in the state of Alabama, I think is, AL. So one of the things I want to show you is whenever you're pulling data in, HighLevel has certain built-in fields and other fields that are not included in HighLevel that you will have to create. And I'm going to show you how to do that in this particular video because it's very important if you're pulling in a list, because it's going to allow you to filter and use the CRM system to find other people inside of your GoHighlevel platform. And I'm going to show you what that means and what that looks like here. But if we take a look, I'm going to blow this up a little bit because what I want you to see is I want you to see the categories here. Come on. And it's not allowing me to do that for some reason. But here, if we take a look, the very first row has a list of what they call headers. This is name, phone, email, email host, website, things like that. Let me see if I can do it this way here. There we go. So hopefully you can see that a little bit more. And what it also does is with D7 Lead Finder, Apollo could be different, Google Maps Extractor, each one of those tools can pull certain types of data from the listing. Now, what I want to show you here is this is D7 Lead Finder. Pick whatever you want, but what I would recommend, if you're going to use one particular provider, keep one provider, because that way all the columns that you're going to deal with are going to be the same, and then therefore the import process for those lists inside of HighLevel will again be the same. Because if not, then you're creating multiple different column types and it gets to be a real mess. And I'll show you what that's like in HighLevel in just a minute, I promise. But I just want to show you, here's some of the things that you can get. Category, the address of the business, Google ranking, like where they rank in Google, their Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. So all of their social media profile pages, you can actually pull that in as well. Now keep in mind, this may be very useful down the road to store that, because all this information is going to be put in at the contact level inside of HighLevel. And then you can pull that information, use all those profiles later on in anything, in any field or any email that you want to use. You've got their information, so you can always go and look at it later. Now, some of the other nice things, the Google star rating. So it says, what is your current rating? Notice here, 4.75, things like that. So one of the nice things is you could sit back and actually create a filter inside of HighLevel for like Google stars or Google reviews. So this is another thing that deals with Google reviews count. Now, this right here is going to be important because if you want to do things like review management, then obviously if this person right here, if you look, has three reviews, that's it. Well, then you might want to target those people inside of your HighLevel system in order to, for instance, go after them and prospect them for review management. Makes sense, right? So things like that are very helpful. Notice if you come down here, you see some of these people have hundreds of reviews, but for those people that just have a few, now you can sit back and actually filter HighLevel and actually search for all those people that have Google review counts and go from descending to ascending and go from like, lowest to highest and pull all those low-hanging fruit. So anyway, and you can even create a smart list for those people and all that other kind of stuff. And I don't know if we're going to go in that much detail in this particular one, but you get my point here. There's a lot of data inside of this list, but Google review count, Google stars, those are not standard fields that happen inside of HighLevel. So the point is how do you store that data at the contact level if the fields don't already exist? And right now we're going to do that using a HighLevel feature called custom fields. We're going to create custom fields, and I'm going to show you, we won't create them here. I'm going to show you I've already created them because this is going to be a production system that I'm actually testing this on and importing this that I've already done this with. But anyway, just to kind of review some of the other columns, Yelp stars, Facebook reviews, Facebook and Google pixels. Again, very important. Why? Because what if you want to target people that are already doing marketing? Then if they have a Facebook or Google Pixel on their particular website, then most likely they're already going to be doing some form of marketing or have in the past. So you might want to be able to target those people that have done that kind of marketing. If they don't have a Pixel, then probably the best choice is going to be that they've never done marketing before. So anyway, hopefully you see the value of all this. Google Analytics, are they measuring their Google Analytics? Do they have WordPress on their site or not WordPress? So there's a whole lot of things in here that you could see. Now, some of these columns you may not too much care about, but like some of the things that's nice here for this Gmaps, for instance, you can actually see like which Google My Business listing is claimed and which ones are not claimed. Again, this is very valuable because what if you want to switch and prospect people in this thing instead of review management? What if you want to do like search engine optimization? Or local search engine optimization, and you want to target those people? Well, if they don't have a Google My Business listing that's claimed, then right now they've never been into their business listing. They don't know the power of it, and you can come in, and that could be a profitable point for you to come in and do things like that. So anyway, you see there's just tons of columns here and I'm going to kind of expand this back out here. What did I just do? So I'm going to come here and bring this back down to 100%. Now, one of the things I want to show you, I'm dealing with one of my cold email outreach sub-accounts that I'm dealing with here. But I want to show you, first of all, before we start doing importing, it's very important to make sure that you look through your data file, your CSV file, and point out all the fields that you want to store in the contact record. Now, keep in mind, some of these things you may not care about for this one. I don't know if, I guess, let's just say you're not really concerned about this field that deals with LinkedIn analytics. You don't really care about that. You don't really care if they're doing anything with LinkedIn. Well, then you wouldn't create a custom field to store this particular column's data at the contact level. Okay, you would only want to store the information like Google Pixel. Are they dealing with a Facebook Pixel? Those type of columns are what we're going to need to create, and I'm going to show you in here how to do that. Now, just this is real quick. If you want a real detailed explanation of how to do these things, search my YouTube channel. I have a whole other thing about custom fields and go really in depth about it. But right now, I'm just going to braze over it real quick for those people that are already familiar. So here, if we're going to go to custom fields, we're going to see that this is where your custom fields resides. Now, I have a lot of them here, so I'm going to pop to one of these other columns here. Okay, perfect. So here we take a look at, notice that this is GMB claimed. So this is a custom field that I created to store the information inside of the file that I'm importing. Facebook Pixel, Google Pixel, and let me see if I can, there we go, blow this up. So here's all these columns, these inside the file that we talked about. I do want to store like Facebook rating, Facebook review count. All those things are going to be very important because those are things, depending upon what services you want to be able to target, you can use the same list and target multiple different services to different people. And you can build different smart lists all on the same group of contacts that you import, because one smart list might be looking at like Google review count and their review rating stars. Another one could be looking at whether they're claimed or unclaimed, and dealing with different services. One could be review management, one could be local SEO. You might even target people that have a blank website field. So what if they don't have a website? Well, then, hey, there's another possibility. Let me target those people and see if they're interested in having us build a website for them. So how do we find that? We just simply pull all the contact records where the website field is blank or is empty. And boom, there's a whole other smart list that now we can target for doing website traffic. Do you see the power of this? But this only occurs if you record all the data from the file that you get and you do it correctly. So if we take a look at this, I'm going to blow this back up. If you come in here and add a field, this right here is where the most important thing that you need to make sure you do is choose the right data type. Now, if you're going to be doing things like, let's just say you're recording a social media profile. Let's just do this Facebook, like WordPress. No, let's just do Facebook URL. So right now, if we take a look at this, notice that this is a single line. So a single line of text, that's the only thing that we need. And the only option that we're going to get is where do we want to put it? What group do we want to put it in? I'm putting all mine in additional info. You can create a custom group if you want to. You could put it in whatever group that you want to, or put it at the root of the contact level, whichever you want. But right now, the important part is simply to create all of the fields based upon what it is. So if it's a text field, single line of text is going to be probably the best. If it's going to be specifically a number, like if whatever you're pulling, like Google review count, if it's review count, for instance, and you're pulling that in, well, then you want to choose a number, because the Google review count is going to be a number, not necessarily text, because different fields allows you to do different operations. For instance, if it's a number, inside of HighLevel, you could do things like filter where this number is 4, 4.0 rating or less. So some different fields, like you would get less than or equal to, greater than or equal to if it's a number, but you won't get those filter options if it's a text field, because it doesn't make sense to do less than or greater than on a text field. So hopefully you can understand the differences when you're creating this, and specifically if you're doing things with dates, make sure you do a date picker. Okay, because that right there stores the date, and then because it's stored as a date, you have other filter options that you can pick as a result of that as well. So hopefully that's a real quick option to show you how you need to go through, and this is all before you even start the import process. Now this is the list that we pulled from D7. This could also be information that a current client also has. So if they're pulling this and clients already have all of this data, then some of the basic fields like first name, last name, phone number, email, address, all the basic stuff that you have inside of HighLevel, those are going to be pretty much standard. You don't need to create those because those are already there. Any additional fields, extra fields that you have, those are the ones that you have to think about with your client and ask them, do you want to pull that data over? Do you care about that data? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But either way, you're going to need to know this, because this is a very important process inside of the system. Because when you do this, it's very important to bring this data in correctly, because if you don't, then it may be very hard to find data later on once you've already imported it. So some of the things you need to think about is when you import this are things like tags. And I haven't gotten there yet. I'm going to go over this when we do the import process, but you're going to know how to properly tag people. Are these currently prospects? Are these clients? Are these, how do you want to tag these people, inside of your system, so that you could use a tag, for instance, to quickly, easily create smart lists and filter people, or your salespeople can filter people based upon just the tag information, and make it very easy for you to find people later on. So really doing that is just really beneficial, because the CRM system inside of HighLevel is very powerful in what it can do as far as just sorting, filtering, and creating smart lists. But you need to have the correct data in there for you to be able to do that later on. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I'm not going through this too fast, but all of these things need to be done first before you even start the import process. Okay. Now, once you've got all this stuff created and your fields created and things like that, what you need to do is come back in here and go to the contacts area. And right now what we're going to do is on the toolbar here, we're going to sit back and look. If you come all the way over here, there's export contacts and then import contacts. Import contacts is the one that we're going to utilize for today. So we're going to choose, well, first of all, let me go back here to my list just to make sure that I've done this. This is a Google Sheet, but right now I'm going to go through and say download. I'm going to download as a CSV file, comma separated file, because that's the file type that HighLevel needs to import. It doesn't import Excel, any of these other PDFs, no. CSV file is what you need to choose. So I'm going to choose this. And now, oh, looks like I've already kind of done it. So anyway, why won't it not allow me to do this? All right, well, I'm not going to be bothering with this. So I'm going to import this thing and I'm going to come here and it's going to ask me for a file. I've already downloaded it, but I'm going to choose the very first one here and click OK. Now that we've got our file selected for this, now what we're going to do is just simply click Next. Now what it's going to do here is HighLevel is going to try to be smart. Okay, it's going to try to look at all of the header fields, and the header field is that top one that has the name of the column, what the column is. So it's going to have that name on there, and what it's going to try to do is match that name with the name that it already has in its CRM system. Now, what I want to show you is if you look at this, I'm going to try to blow this up a little bit. Notice the name column, it has a match. Notice that these match columns, when you get this little circle with a check mark, that means HighLevel has found a field that matches the name of your file to the field inside of the CRM system. But like this right here, there's a column inside of the file called email host. There is no column inside here called email host. Now, if you sit back and you create the custom field name to match exactly what the header name is, then all of these fields should pretty much match. You should have, the HighLevel should be able to match them and find every column, making this part very easy to do. Now, right now, one of the things I want to show you is email host is not something that I care about myself. I don't care who their email hosting provider is, so I never created a field for that. So that's a field that I never want to import. So right now, if you take a look here, one of the things that's important, I'm going to blow this up, this little thing here at the bottom, you have 46 unmatched columns. Don't import data in unmatched columns. Okay, so you want to make sure eventually that this gets checked, but before you do that, you want to make sure that all the columns have matched the best that you can. So this is where you, an assistant, whoever you're going to have do this, it's very important to sit back and understand that you do this correctly. Otherwise, you can get things messed up. So notice a category. If you want to select the category field and you have a column for it, just simply click on this, scroll all the way down, and it has all of the fields in here for you. I don't too much care to deal with the category myself, but this right here, notice that it says region and AL. This right here is very important. Region in one thing also includes or means state. So right now what we want to do is just simply match that. Now that the region, there is no column inside of HighLevel called region, which was the header inside of the file. There is nothing like that inside of HighLevel, so you have to do the transformation or the conversion yourself. So you have to know that this means state. Now that it means state, there's a green check mark. Everything is good to go. Now, some of the other things that you need to do is if you scroll down here, notice that all of these columns have like error, 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 because HighLevel did not find an exact match column inside of the CRM system for the header in the file. Not a problem. This is where it becomes sort of a matching game. So Google Rank, if you want to click on this, if you had something in here, maybe we search all the way down and there should be something in here for Google Rank here. And right now I call this Google Rating. So this right here is where I would match it here. Once I choose the option, boom, now this becomes a green check mark. For Facebook, this right here, if you do Facebook, this is just the Facebook URL. So if you come down here and scroll, if you look at, I call it Facebook profile. So again, this is where, however you name the file, or name the column, I'm sorry, your custom field inside of HighLevel, this is where you need to match that custom field with the particular column. Now notice that it also gives you some sample data here. It takes like the first record and shows you some of the information that's in here to at least let you know what's going on. Now Instagram, I mean, you can kind of get the point right here. You just want to scroll down and look at Instagram profile. Boom, Twitter, scroll down and you're going to be dealing with Twitter profile. That's just the naming convention that I came up with. LinkedIn, you see the point. This can actually get rather boring, and I would definitely, if you can, hire this out because this right here is hugely boring. Now, if you do this, this is one of the main reasons why instead of having 50 files that you have to import, before you do that, you might want to sit back and bring all of those 50 files together as one file inside of Google Sheets or an Excel file or whatever else. Just simply copy the data from one file and bring it in, copy it, and make one big master list so that when you do this, you only pull in one list that has 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 records instead of 51,000 record files. Because if you do this, if you have 50 different files, you're doing this import process 50 times, and that sucks. believe me, that really sucks. And it's a lot of time, especially if you're constantly mapping all of these fields. So that's just a little bit of advice that we have here. But right now, I'm gonna import this data, but I'm gonna delete it later. But I want to go through the process with you, but I'm not gonna sit here and go through all of these fields and do this. So right now, if you want to look at, this type of stuff, notice that this says GMAPs claimed. And if you look here, there should be something that we created. I do want to keep track of this one, like GMB claimed. So once you match all those, then you're good to go, no problem. Bring in the data that you want, ignore the data that you don't want. But when you do this, you do have to sit back and say, now if you take a look, there are 39 unmatched columns. Now, depending on how many columns you want to bring in or don't want to bring in, then you should know that here. But right now, I want to check this. Do not import unmatched columns. So all that means is all of these columns that have these red triangles on it, that data will not be brought into HighLevel. Only the ones with a little circle on it will be. Make sense? Hopefully so. So this right here is the key. Mapping the correct field over exactly. And again, it's up to you on how you name it and how you bring this stuff in, whether it's one big file or multiple files. So let's go ahead and click next. Now, the import name, HighLevel, this is where this is going to be like the date and time of your import. And what it will do is it will actually create a group, like a smart list group of all of these people, allowing you to sit back and quickly, this is used on purpose, because right now when you bring it in, what if the data doesn't get done right? What if you want to tag everybody with, I imported this list on this day, then that's a tag that you can sit back and filter on inside of the HighLevel system, find all those people, and then potentially delete them if you imported them wrong. Like, let's just say you import them, you look at all the data, check out the records, and everything looks good. Then, you could remove those tags if you wanted to remove the tag. But if you didn't, then it allows you to sit back and choose all the people that you just imported, delete them, and then do it again. So that's going to be a nice thing. And it's just, create a list of contacts at the import. I always do that myself, at least initially. Now, here's something very important that I want to make sure that you understand. You need to click on the advanced here. And this right here is the key, because if you don't do this, you may very well lose hundreds, if not thousands of contacts. One of the important things that you have to understand when you're importing inside of HighLevel is HighLevel uses two fields primarily to identify a contact record, and that is going to be the phone number, the email address. So if you have somebody with the same email address, then HighLevel will be able to match them inside of the contact record to a contact that already existed. If they have a phone number, then they'll find them by phone number. So for instance, if there's no email and there's a phone number, then HighLevel can find them by a phone number. Okay. However, what if you have contact records where there's no phone number and no email address that's pulled in? There's where the problem is that if you don't have that, then that particular record will not be imported, period. HighLevel won't do it because of the setting on this particular page right here. So let me blow this up and show you what this is. Add or update existing records. So this is where you can, I just leave this as an option, because what this means is that if the contact doesn't exist, add a new one. If the contact record does exist, then update the contact record. So typically, if you're importing this and they've never been imported before, you're never going to be updating a record. You're going to be adding a new record. Now, this right here, find existing contacts based on primary. The email address here is the primary field at which they'll find somebody. Now, the problem is the way this is set up. If you have a contact record with no email field, then that will not pull in. Now, you can sit back and add a second rep preference if you want to. I'm not going to get into that. You can look at, you can look at one of my other YouTube channels to go over specifically about these that I went into later. But one of the things I want to show you is that there is phone, email, and none. For this option right here, I'm going to have you select none. Now, what this means is that there is no field inside of here that HighLevel is going to check to make sure that a record is currently already existing. Notice how this grayed out, and now you're just simply adding a new contact record, because HighLevel has nothing to update an existing contact record with. You're saying just add the record. Now, this is where I want to warn you. Duplicate records can be created here. So when you do this, you need to make sure that the data that you bring in has already been pre-filtered. Duplicates have already been eliminated, and this is prime, pristine data that you're pulling in. Very important that you have to understand that here. If not, you can get duplicate contacts, and then it's not the end of the world. If you get duplicate contacts, HighLevel can always merge those contact fields later if they exist, but I don't even want you to have that problem right from the very beginning. So right now I select none, because that way, if you're doing cold email outreach and things like that, and they don't have a phone number or an email address, you still want to make sure the record is added, because at least now they're in your record. They might have a website, they might have a Facebook profile that you can go after and things like that. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, when you do this, this is where you can also sit back and add tags. So if you wanted to, this is where you go back and you might want to have, I'm just going to just say, I think I might already have a tag for like HV, and you could just do one for, if I could spell right, prospect. Now we're doing, this is a particular file I think is for Alabama. So right now, if you wanted to, you could do prospect-al or something like that. And if it doesn't exist, that's not a problem. You can just simply click add here. But now what you're doing is prospect AL. So now if you wanted to, inside the system later, you could find all the people who are HVAC. If you want to look at those, because you could do HVAC, you could pull in, roofing, you could pull in everything and have multiple different leads inside the same sub account, and then be able to have smart lists to filter them based upon the tag of HVAC, roofing, solar, whatever you want to do. Hopefully that makes sense. But if you want to filter it even more, let's just say I want to filter HVAC and I want to go down and figure out everybody that's HVAC that's in the Alabama state. For instance, state of Alabama, boom. Now I can pull all the ones in here just like that by using the tag and create a smart list and focus just on those people. Now, if I wanted to, I could do, this is where the power of HighLevel comes in. I could do HVAC, I could do Alabama, and then I can even have another filter about give me all the ones in this list where the website is blank. So now that right there says I'm targeting all the HVAC owners in Alabama with no website. Boom. You've got you filtered it very down to a very small niche list. And now you can have a whole other email sequence, workflow, customer nurture campaign that just deals with those particular people alone. So hopefully that helps you with that. So that right there is just the power of what you can do. Again, you can deal with Google reviews, you could do with GMB claimed, all that kind of stuff. It allows you to filter your list down, but only if you have the correct data and you imported the data correctly. So anyway, just wanted to sit back. We do not want to add these people to a new campaign. That's another one. You import these people, you can put them directly into a campaign. I don't ever recommend that, because when you bring it in, you want to make sure everything gets brought in right, all the data got mapped right, because it is prone to error on this. If that drop-down list, if you import it into the wrong field, then it could really mess up your workflows and kind of make you look silly to a potential prospect. So once we do this, we're going to simply now choose submit. Once we do that, now you're going to sit back and the file is being processed. This particular file has, I think, a little over 2,100 records in it. But if you wanted to, you can click here to view the process of it. Notice that this is processing. And right now when you do that, you could refresh this. Typically for this, it might take a minute or 2 minutes. We're not really going to particularly wait on that, because right now the whole point is I wanted to at least show you how that gets brought in. And now if you sit back and look at contacts, you can sit back and now come in here and filter people based upon that particular initial name that you gave. And you should actually see the import here. Let's go back here and just see where we're at on the process. But yeah, we're at 5% for this one. And you see, it just might take a couple of minutes for you to do this, depending on how busy the system is. But when all that gets brought in, now you'll be able to sit back and pull that particular list by the list name that you had, and all the data will be there. And you'll just need to sit back and take a look at it. And let's see here. And from your filter perspective, this is where now if you look at your filters, now you have all of the information that's in here. But if you take a look down a little bit further, we'll see that now look at all these custom fields that we have. Sorry, and I know I'm kind of blocking this, so let's see if I could. But you see the custom fields here above me here. But if we wanted to, we could do like Facebook pixel. We could sit back and search for that, Facebook URL, and do all the searches that we want by this, say Facebook pixel, and just say is empty, is not empty, kind of thing, or contains. Let's just say in this one, I think Facebook pixel is either Y or no. So do things like this, and I guess I must be wrong on that one. But you see what I'm saying here. You can sit back and filter based upon any of those custom fields, depending upon the data type that you get. So anyway, guys, I hope you found this useful. This is one of the primary reasons why people find it hard, especially when they onboard new clients, because when they onboard clients, one of the onboarding processes is going to have to be pull their existing contacts or CRM over and put it into HighLevel, even if you're doing things like database reactivation. Again, that's another type of service that we haven't talked about in here, but this right here is the exact same process that you would do if you want to pull an old customer list in and start doing database reactivation for somebody. This is the process that you're going to need to go through and do. And whether or not you do this for free or whether or not you sit back and charge them for this is completely up to you. So anyway, I hope they found the video useful. If you did, click on the like, give me a comment. I always appreciate it here. YouTube loves it when you guys interact with the video, leave a comment, share, all that kind of cool stuff. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. And if you are new to HighLevel, I am an affiliate. If you click on the link below to sign up for HighLevel using my link, you get a ton of stuff, including some coaching by me for this, and just want to make sure that you're successful. Also, I do have a free course in the description below that teaches you 8 different ways to make money using HighLevel, a couple of which we've already talked about in this particular video. So again, guys, thanks so much for you tuning in, and have a great day.